All right, welcome back to Planet Gen X, Gen Xers. I'm your host, Sean, and this is my co-host, Brian. Say hello, Brian.
Hello, Brian.
All right, there he is. And by the way, even if you're not a Gen Xer, if you're on Planet Gen X, you're still a Gen Xer, so you're part of the family if you watch us. So don't worry about it if you don't meet the criteria of the actual years. We'll have you if you're watching, because that just means you're cool.
Yeah. I mean, we're barely in, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. We're actually kind of right. Yeah. Right at the end.
We're at the end
really.
of it.
Yeah, we're at the end of it. Cool factor. Plus 10. So, man, how's it been going?
That's all right. If you can tell, things have been crazy around here. You got haircut, new setup, new room, new all that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
I'm kind of embracing spring and all this stuff, and yeah, trying to be a better person. How about you?
Yeah, that's I guess I'm always trying to be a better person, but embracing spring, I started early with that, the whole cleaning thing, but that's kind of come to a screeching halt. It needs to get back out of a screeching halt though, because I got to get on it, man. Jesus, I hate having that ADHD. This is the time when I really hate it. It just really messes with me big time. But
so, quick question: do you have seasonal affective disorder too?
No, I don't think it really bothers me.
Okay.
Yeah,
I do. That's why I was asking, because like spring hits, I got to clean, I got to change some shit around, I got to be moving, and once the sun starts getting lower in the sky, I don't know. It's harder to motivate myself.
Yeah, no, I'm not picky about what the seasons are. In fact, the only thing I don't like is just cold, and too hot. I mean, it's about the only thing that really bothers me with it. But I don't know. I finally picked up Hogwarts again for about 20 minutes. Yeah, well, it wasn't. It was going to go longer, but I thought my wife was going to be playing her game longer. And then she didn't, because I waited too long. So I didn't get very long in it. But yeah, so I got to play around with that again. I just tooled around on my guitar, didn't plug it in, but it was just kind of tooling around on it too a little bit. Trying to squeeze some time in there for whatever I can.
Yeah. Get it where you can.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to stay busy. Twitter followers continue to go up. So, got to constantly talk on there so people can like stuff and know who you are. And
tickle the algo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I tell you what, the funniest thing to me, and it seems like, I think I've already pinpointed it that it's a generational thing. The people coming back at me, and it seems like if it's a wrestling related too, and that's how I've noticed the most, but other people will do it for other posts, is attacking the check mark. Oh, you pay for the blue check mark, like I'm supposed to get irate about it or something. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I told one guy, I usually don't respond to people, I'll just like it just to irritate them. And, but this one guy, I was like, yeah, genius, I do pay for it because I get shit you don't. Yeah. I get access, I get to edit my tweets. You don't get to do that. And it's very nice to be able to do that, believe it or not. $8 a month alone is worth the edit tweet for me.
No, I agree.
But these guys don't get it. I mean, it's this is a business and they don't understand. He's like, oh, you can get a bunch of bots to follow you for what you're paying for that. I'm like, you're missing the point. It's not about the numbers. Faking the numbers. It is about the numbers, but it's not faking the numbers,
Right.
I'm not trying to build a following of a bunch of bots that aren't even listening. You know what I'm saying? How that's for a narcissist, you would think that would be great, but no. They would have to be like, it would have to be super AI bots like that had video, like they could connect with you and show little videos of themselves, like what they'd look like, and they'd have to be like really deep fake looking, like real people looking, like they bring up like a webcam. It looked like a webcam image. Maybe that would appeal to a narcissist.
I still get you warm at night.
I mean, I don't know. Crazy. But yeah, it's funny. how the things they use to try and, like, I guess what they call a cut down or whatever, like you're just trying to put it to you, but it amuses me more than anything else, because it's like, really, dude, you're attacking the blue check mark. So funny.
Can't please everybody. You're lucky if you can please anybody, right?
Yeah, boy, I've been saying that for a long time. Never be able to please everybody all the time. That's why I can't get behind half the crap going on out here, because they're trying to get attention for themselves from everybody when they're never going to get it. It's just not going to happen. Accept what you get, enjoy it, move on, live your life. Stop asking for rights you already have. So,
Well,
do you have anything
ready
else you
for the
want to talk
news?
about before we get to news?
no, I was just asking about the news myself.
Yeah. So here we go. News. It's in the news. So we talked about a couple weeks back about the Asus ROG Ally, the new handheld that they are putting out. They have a lot of interesting stuff that Asus puts out. ROG. They've got a phone that I've seen on Mr. Who's the Boss that has a fan, like a heatsink fan type deal on the back of it. And it's a hella gaming phone. And I tell you what, after gaming on my phone yesterday, trying to anyway, while my wife was having some stuff done, that shit got so damn hot, like the Wi-Fi not Wi-Fi, but the actual cellular just stops working, man. I mean, it just goes, sorry. Luckily, they have Wi-Fi, and apparently it can still hang on, so I was able to get back into it. But I'm like, that's bullshit, man. I mean, this fucker was hot,
Yeah.
And I wasn't playing.
I've had that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't playing anything what I would think was super graphically intense. Maybe it was way more than I thought, but
Well, a lot of that heat doesn't just come from the graphics. Like crispy graphics will put the heat on your phone, but a lot of times what's happening there is data packets being interchanged, trackers and shit like that.
Yeah, and it's pounding those cores, man. It's generating some hella heat. Can you imagine if those were CISC cores instead of RISC cores? God almighty.
I don't want it.
It wouldn't be happening. I mean, we wouldn't be able to or we turn them on and they'd immediately go off because the battery would suck out. But yeah, but those phones, so I can see like why they would build it that way. And that's actually, and I believe it's like overclocked in a way. And like it's really a high performance gaming phone. So that's pretty cool that Asus has thought outside the box there and designed something like that, because that's a very niche product. For stuff really hardcore. I mean, how many gamers do you know that are just like, man, I am a mobile gamer. Yeah. I mean, they do it and we like it a lot, but I mean, that's not your go-to platform is what I'm saying. And so the Ally, we talked about that a couple weeks back, like I said, and so more leaks have come out about it. And it's looking very attractive. We talked about how, Steam does have the advantage with the Steam OS, library, Steam Cloud, Valve. The Steam library. Yeah, Valve, thank you. The Valve library, and, well, I guess it's just Steam in general, right? Steam. So this thing's like $70 over the price of the highest end Steam Deck, anyway.
Right.
And it has some hella better performance. But we've also heard that, and it can run Windows, but the Windows performance is very, because it's just Windows. Microsoft needs to get with it and start optimizing for handheld stuff,
True.
I will say I'm kind of waiting to see one of these things get overhauled to, you know how you can get the new generations of iPads. You can do all your live editing, Adobe, drop video, Adobe Illustrator, all of the stuff that you need to push a final product, right?
Yeah.
I want to see somebody get that treatment to one of these systems. And it's probably not going to happen soon, but if they get another couple of generations out, I think we'd see it.
So you're saying like something, okay, so I can see I always was attracted to the Surface because of the touchpad and the pen and being able to do drawing on glass. They've had tablets out. Wacom has had tablets for years that have, that you could draw on, that had monitors inside them basically. But now just to be able to take that and draw on it, that's like a huge thing. So having a package that had like Steam for applications, like Steam for artists or something like that, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I just mean like basically you would deconstruct the OS. You just drop a bare bones Windows system in there with any of the plugins and things that you need to make stuff like Blender or whatever work. And you would record video, hopefully from this device.
Yeah.
And then just use this device to edit it on the fly, post it.
Yeah, essentially what
The
I'm
only
saying.
reason the only reason I bring that up is because an iPad is not. You got to invest a lot of money to protect an iPad from the elements if you're doing live shit with it out in the field.
Yeah, and it's not big enough either.
Yeah,
I think it needs to be bigger.
I agree.
But portable still. But anyway, we're talking about something that we'll never invent. I would love to. I have ideas all the time, man, but I just, I don't have capital. I mean, this is me doing an idea right here.
Right.
But this, thank God we already have half the shit you need to do something like this. You got a phone? Yeah. All right, man. You're a podcaster. Hell yeah.
This and this.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing how all this shakes out because I am really behind innovators. I like that, like I said, what Asus is doing with the ROG stuff. So we'll see how it comes out. It's probably not something I'll ever own, more than likely. To me, if I'm going to put money into something, I'm going to fix up these computers I got here, getting them back into shape. That's really important.
I hear you. We should get together sometime. I should bring the laptop over and we should have a computer repair day.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can help you there. Next on the list, the RTX 4060 Ti is apparently using the exact same board as the 3060.
Yeah.
Wow.
This has been a discussion that's been going on ever since, it was being developed, whether or not they were going to use old components for it. And we knew they would.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. And I wonder what the price of it's going to be because considering what I have, and of course I don't even know this card, it might run in my computer. I think I'm on a Gen 2 in the desktop PCI, so it may run, but it's going to go at those speeds.
Right.
So if I have a 750 Ti in there, I mean, surely still that's going to be a hell of a jump. Saying I buy a 4060, right? So if it was like $200, it might be cool.
Right.
But I don't think those days are upon us anymore.
I agree. I think it would be amazing if they asked for anything under than 600, in my opinion.
I agree, and I think a really, and I'm sure it's already there. I know it's there, but I think it's going to get even worse. The gray market, man.
Probably.
The gray market.
I don't know.
And just use stuff.
Well, the thing with the gray market is crypto fed it a lot, right?
Yeah.
As far as video cards are concerned. And that's becoming less and less of a thing. I think the most recent offloads of the 3 series, probably their big cash in to get to the next level on their farms or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, because basically, like, dude, I was like, when I was trying to just see if I could put anything better in here, that wasn't too expensive, and I was looking like at a 1650 or something like that. And surely it would be a good jump, but then I started thinking, I was like, how good a jump would it be, though? I start wondering if it's really that big of a change. Now, I do luckily get some kind of DirectX 12 with this, but I don't get all of the DirectX 12 on this card. Plus, I'm missing the benefits of a X265 encoder in this card as well. It's too old for that. It's just the generation right before they added that in. So there's things like that are beneficial too, not just the performance that I could look at. But if we're talking, I don't really want to spend more than $100. And I know that sounds cheap, but dude, you're talking to guy who comes from $250 was the high end card.
Right.
All the G-forces were $250 when they
well,
came
I mean,
out.
It was one thing when the video card was just another part of the system, but crypto did its deal on the video card market, right?
Yeah.
It pushed up the demand, prices skyrocketed, the availability plummeted, and we saw the gray market didn't perform well afterwards, right? There were people having problems getting rid of some of their stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of it out there right now, and I don't know, but when it comes to getting something, I guess I'm going to probably buy used. I don't really care to do it that way. But and honestly, if I'm going to buy used, I'd rather buy it from a friend.
Right.
So I've already hit you two up, and y'all don't have anything I want. So last year when we first started talking about this stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I think getting it secondhand, I would expect it to have come from a farm. I would have expected it to, burn a lot of hours in and have a limited time frame on its life.
A lot of degradation. Yeah, no doubt. Exactly. So, I mean, friends I can trust, internet I can't. Not even all my friends.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I just thought that was an interesting little bit of news that came out this week. So the Dune Part 2 official trailer came out this week, and I loved every minute of it. It looks beautiful. It's a great the cinematography in it is just wonderful. It looks fantastic. I loved the first part, and I keep finding stuff that's so faithful to the original movie, and also a lot of stuff that's faithful to the book. It's like they really went into the book, but they also honored the original movie, and I love that. I think it's so respectful, and it looks so good.
That was one of the things I wanted to say. Is I read almost all the Dune series. I read like a few of his son's books, but they just weren't the same to me, and it was kind of like a whole different time period and all this other stuff. But I always remember Paul and Leto not being like the goody two shoes we kind of see them as in the movies.
Yeah,
and I kind of feel like there's some of that reflected in this.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean it's grittier. I can't wait to see more of the Harkonnen stuff because I really don't.
Yeah, I'm debating on how I feel about that. I think Batista is going to do a wonderful job, I'm sure. I'm just feeling kind of weird about that whole like monochrome shots. It looks like they're going to be a lot of monochrome shots with them in it.
I was wondering about that. I wasn't sure what was going on there, so I am definitely looking forward to it. To know, because I wasn't sure what that was about, but it was like white people, very, very white people.
Too white.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was like being in like a special photographic booth or something like that, where it just blinds you with white light.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't wait, and it's coming to theaters this time. We were I wish I quit messing with my hair. We were lucky enough to have it come out on HBO Max right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
But this time it's going to hit theaters, so I'm sure I'll wait. I don't think I'll be going to a theater. I haven't been to one since The Right came out.
I can't remember the last time I went either, and to be honest, I don't miss it, right?
No, I don't either. No, dude.
Yeah. I
got a nice little fucking sound system in this room. My wife's got a decent sound system in her room, so
these things are great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Better than any sound system I've.
The spatial audio technology today is just ridiculous.
Yep.
I have yet to experience Atmos, though. I wouldn't mind saying that I would like to hear that, because I am a bit of an audiophile in that regard.
Atmos would be nice, yes. I agree.
But they're broadcasting a lot of this stuff in Atmos now, so if you got some way of decoding it, and I wonder.
Good on you.
Yeah, I wonder if any of the consoles do it. I'm sure mine does, probably. My Xbox.
Maybe the PS5 Pro will do it.
Yeah. Excellent segue, son. I appreciate that, because that's the next thing on the list. The PS5 Pro is going to be a thing. It is rumored anyway. I say it very definite, like it's but I mean, y'all know it's coming.
We all know.
We all know it's coming.
Yeah.
The dev kits are already going out, so that's how we know it's coming.
Yeah, even before that, we knew this was like their new pricing model, right? They'd come out with what they feel is a comfortable price on the intro, wait a year or two, get the Pro with some upgrades, and cash in a second time.
Yeah, and if as you're hitting that subscribe and like button, you can give us a comment and let us know, does the regular PS5 support it?
Right.
That'd
be nice to know.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. It would save me having to look for it. Help a
Let us
brother
know
out.
what you think about the Dune series too, man.
Yeah, because
anything we're talking about.
I have Brian can tell you I have been a Dune fan for a very long time. I had a whole ADHD phase with it. Yeah.
I have like a special place in their heart for the original, right?
Yeah. There was a period there where I was going to sleep to the soundtrack, every night for a while. It was bad. Like it full on was an ADHD moment, man. It was like hyper focus as hell. I go through these all the time with bands, with movies, like genres or something. Like I did it with Aliens for a while. It just happens all the time. I go back and forth to Metallica, like all the time. I've been a big Metallica fan like 5 times. My whole life. But I've never left them, but all of a sudden I'll just start. It's just all about Metallica for like 3 to 5 months, something like that. Or,
I
whatever.
Guarantee you, if I dig out like the trifecta of early Metallica, I had mentioned before, Ride the Lightning and all that.
Yeah.
If I find that on CD in my house, that shit's going to be on repeat for a week at least.
No doubt. So that's pretty much it for the news. Just as an addendum, just a little bullshit that I come across. I was on YouTube and this video came up for I don't remember which one came up first. I think I know what it was. It was TIE Fighter with updated graphics, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah. So I looked into it, and I'm like, okay, so they were using the X-Wing Alliance engine, and it's a mod that makes the whole TIE Fighter game out of the X-Wing Alliance, using the X-Wing Alliance engine with not modern graphics, but probably like 2010 graphics. Maybe even a little, yeah, about 2010 is probably about right. Maybe a little lower.
Getting a lot of background noise for some reason. There you go. That's better.
Weird. I don't know. So anyway, I saw that, and it turns out that I was like, oh, X-Wing Alliance. Well, first of all, I was like, oh, TIE Fighter. I love TIE Fighter. And I miss playing it and stuff. And I thought, wow, if it had modern graphics, that'd be pretty damn cool. And then I saw where X-Wing Alliance had an update as well, where guys have been working for like 20 years. And I got to think that the pandemic, because I noticed a lot of these, I have 3 of them. And I got to think that the pandemic probably helped in a lot of ways getting some of these done, because a lot of these guys are just doing it in their spare time. So, when you're sitting at home, trapped at home, and you got nothing better to do, well, computer nerds are going to get down on it and start doing, projects they had going. So I would imagine that had a lot to do with it.
Programmers, designers, people in gaming, like most of them were stuck working from home, right?
Yeah.
So I would imagine any free time that they had where they couldn't go out and spend time with their friends or do anything that they're used to, went into these types of projects.
Yep. So I was watching this guy's video just to see what these things look like. I'm like, holy cow, man. It's like, wow. I mean, it's taken me back, to when we were in high school.
Wow.
And X-Wing and TIE Fighter had come out, and then eventually X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and then X-Wing Alliance, and I had every single one of them. Mm-hmm. And I remember an X-Wing versus TIE Fighter update back a few, like 15 years ago, and I couldn't actually get that one working right. But anyway, so I went and checked it out, and it turns out that I started thinking, I was like, oh, well, we were watching on May the 4th Be With You. That's something else we need to talk about here in a minute.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, let's just talk about it now because I'm talking Star Wars anyway. So, May the 4th was this Thursday. Yay. May the 4th be with you. I always feel like Daffy Duck or something. May I don't do it to good Daffy Duck. May the 4th be with you. Or something like that. I always feel like I'm doing that. Like, may the 4th. Yeah. But I'm not, but it just, in my head, it feels that way. May the 4th. I don't know. Man, I'm just weird. Fuck, I don't know.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was weird because like our local radio station was playing like metal versions of the theme song and the Imperial March I heard on, and it seemed like everybody had little, wherever you went, there was a little something nod to May the 4th and Star Wars Day, and so my wife and I watched episode 1. She had been saying she wanted to watch it, and I guess me telling her it was May the 4th because she could give a shit.
Right.
We ended up watching that, and I started thinking about the old episode 1 Pod Racer game back when Jay had the ball and claw, and that's when that game came out because that's when episode 1 came out during that time.
It's a pretty decent game in my opinion.
I loved that game, and that's when the Microsoft Sidewinder joystick came out, and I got mine down here. Let's see.
You got one hanging out.
Check it out. This is the mother of all. I don't know if I can get in here where it can be seen. This is the one. This was the last one they made. This was one they called the Pro. You actually have to plug this one into. Sorry, I'm gonna get back on mic. Come on. That's the one that actually has its own power plug. Like USB can't power it alone. I think a lot of them did have that, but this sumbitch is rugged and it's got just way more features, and it was the last one that I think they made. And those who have had those Sidewinder 3D joysticks and games that were designed to use them, like old Flight Simulator, the new Flight Simulator doesn't even support it. It sucks. I think I've heard that some guys have put out some kind of mod that does make it work, which is a godsend because I would love to try it with that. Without rudder control, if you don't have a setup, it's kind of stupid. So it gives you that rudder control. You can twist the handle. But anyway, we'd had that pod racer, and it turns out we could, you can multiplayer it. So we'd get a few guys going and racing, and we only had a couple of the Sidewinders, I think. Or did we just have the one? I can't remember. I know we had one at least.
I thought we had more than one.
Okay, we may have.
Maybe 2.
But man, just being able to turn that, the way those pod racers worked, it made all the difference. And this game was written with this joystick in mind. And it made it like you're hitting those tight turns through the canyon. You could throw that roll over and just hug that thing. Oh, man. We got so good. I was like, you could feel the force flowing through you, man. It was like literally, I was like, oh, man, it was so intense. Music going, it was like a party atmosphere there in the first place. Yeah. And then you're, 3 or 4 or maybe 6. We had possibly 6. Well, no, we'd have had 5 because Jay would have been doing something on his own over there, getting like pictures.
Playing Rainbow Six, man.
Or getting porn or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely porn. Once he got that, that we were the first in our area. Remember, we had the DSL line. Like DSL had just come out, and we were the first in the area to get it. And man, did we tax that thing too?
Yeah.
1.5 megabit.
You could have given us double that, and we still would have taxed.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, honestly, even our gigabit today, we could tax it. We would just scale. We would scale with it because there would be just so many more people we would just add to it. The 6 was enough, and it was cool. But anyway, so that it's really that particular game. It had some update to it, but I don't know really how much he did with the actual textures in game, if any. It seems like he made it more of an HD style, where it's just stretched out and the fonts are changed, and the cinematics are reformatted and stuff like that. So it does look a little better to me in game, but not like comparing it to X-Wing Alliance's updates and the TIE Fighter update and the other one I'll mention that's not Star Wars, Star Trek Bridge Commander. So, 'cause I ended up down a rabbit hole, basically. So once I figured out that this game, I was like, God, I love X-Wing Alliance. And you just give me something that I love that much and make it kind of modern looking. I was like, oh, this is just so awesome. And I loved it. I was playing the shit out of it the other night. But, So yeah, it started me down this rabbit hole, and I was like, okay, so what else is out there? And then I come across, I don't even know how I came across it. It must have been listed, because you go, it ends up taking these mod sites, so you see a ton of mods for other games, and maybe I saw it as one of the other games listed, but Star Trek Bridge Commander. And man, oh days, it's amazing what these guys get up to and how much effort they really do put into it, because it's just a complete revamp. Some of this stuff, they've added extra ships in this game. They weren't even in the original game. That's crazy. But cool. I mean, I applaud it. I think it's so neat. So yeah, I'm revisiting these old games. It's really, really a lot of fun. And so I want to put it out there for those of you who don't know that they're out there. Think of a game you might like, and then, as far as like, it's going to be like a 3D based game that has an engine. You got to think of something like that. You're not going to be reskinning like Donkey Kong Country or some shit like that. Yeah. But, yeah, if it has just textures, and you're just replacing the texture, or you can even, like, these guys probably have access to the actual meshes and stuff, and putting new models in and everything else, and it just depends. It depends on the engine. I can tell you the Unreal stuff, I bet fares a lot better. Like, if it was an Unreal game, they could probably do all kinds of stuff to that. Anything.
Yeah, I still don't know how that works with the new engine and updating old asset.
Yeah, I don't either. That new engine's incredible, though.
It is.
Oh my God, this thing's spitting out images that just almost just shy of reality. I can still see it. Mean,
with certain plugins, you can get reality.
Yeah, and I can still see it. If you know what you're looking for, you can still see it. But it is so almost there.
Yeah. You can get real-world LiDAR scans of objects and physically put them in Unreal 5. It's amazing.
Yeah, did you see that recent trailer? Do you watch Linus Tech Tips ever?
Not much.
Well, anyway,
there's catch a rare one.
Yeah, there's a trailer going around anyway. It's not related to them, but that's how I saw it through them. There is a hyper-real game going around where they did use LiDAR, and it looks like body cam footage. And it is. I mean, like, there's parts of it that look incredible, but then when you really start dissecting, you can see, okay, yeah, it's a game, especially with certain lighting and stuff like that. Of course, RTX is helping that a lot, getting that realism into the lighting.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
RTX touches on some of the stuff we were talking about. I talked about the red glow on Tarkin's nose.
Yeah.
One day, like, there's always going to be more updates, and there will be more plugins. So I imagine at some point you're not going to be able to tell.
No, eventually
the aberration will be fixed. Everything will be as it should be, and
yeah, and that scares me. I want to always be able to tell. I do. I mean, I'm sorry that they will get
before you wake up in the Matrix,
dude. You don't want to take me there, man. I've already. There's weird shit going on. So that pretty much does it for the news, and that wasn't really news, just something I wanted to throw out there for you guys. But we're going to get to something we didn't get to last week because we were having a frazzling time getting the show together last week. So we promised you we'd take it back to talk about one of the comedians that we loved and adored a lot, especially growing up for me, because obviously he stopped after, about the 90s. I think he's made a few appearances, which we'll talk about, but that is Richard Pryor. And how he's, we'll talk about a bunch of different things. First of all,
let's run down the name first of all, huh?
Yeah, go for it.
Born Richard Franklin Lennox Thomas Pryor III.
It's a long name, isn't it?
No shit. Raised by pimps and hoes.
Raised by pimps and hoes, sure enough, man. He's somebody that I really remember in my childhood as loving a lot.
Yeah.
I have always been attracted to comedians. I guess that's shows why I'm gone in the direction I've gone, living my dream. It's just the way, I don't know, he was in so many different things, and I loved everything that I saw him in, and when I was going through the list of stuff he's been in, I was like, wow, I didn't see this, and I didn't see this, but there's so much stuff that I did see. But he had a wild life growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, when you say raised by pimps and hoes, that ain't no lie. His grandmother was a straight up pimp. Madam, I guess is the word for it. Yeah.
His mom was a prostitute. His aunt was a prostitute. Everybody living in that house worked.
Yeah, I mean,
as far as I understood.
One of the movies that he did, and I had my mother take me to see this. It was this is how big a fan I was. It's no BS. JoJo Dancer was a movie. Your Life is Calling is the full name of it, and it really should be called Richard Pryor's Life. To not fool people, because I remember the trailer back in the day had one very funny moment where he's being yelled at as a little boy, and he makes some smart comment or something, and it made me laugh. I just thought, oh, that little Richard Pryor is so damn funny. And it's not even him, some actor kid, but it's just funny thinking that young Richard Pryor, and that nothing else in that whole movie was funny. Like, really, honestly, I don't remember. Of course, it might have been. But I was pretty with it for a kid my age. I'm not even sure what year that movie came out, and how old I was. But she took me. She wanted to see something, and that's usually our thing. She would go see one thing, and I'd go see whatever I wanted to see, and that's what I wanted to see. And it really was like, so I know all this stuff about him just from seeing that movie, because it starts off you're in the whorehouse, and he's a little kid running around, and by the end of it, he's blowing himself up with a crack pipe,
Yeah.
And at my age, even I knew what a crack pipe was. And I'm telling you, I couldn't have been more than, it had to be like 6 or 7, and I might be, 6, somewhere in there, 5 to 7 years old.
Yeah.
But, I was surprised that they named it that way, honestly. I don't, and maybe I should know the story behind it, but I don't. Maybe there's a reason that it is named that, and why they didn't.
I don't know.
As his life story, because that's what it was. And I think that's what I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to get this one thought out. I didn't even realize as a kid that he had gotten burned up, because that had obviously happened like when I was just young enough to not know, I just wasn't getting the news, I wasn't sitting in front.
I don't think we were alive when it happened.
Yeah, we may not have been. That's true too. So that taught me a lot. So anyway, I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
That's all good. I just wanted to just throw some things out there about Richard Pryor. I think one important thing, I sent you that link, like ABC did that series on him and whatnot.
Yep.
And there were some interview moments with him, and one that always struck me was I can't remember what the interviewer said the name was, but it was like Edgy or Edgar or something like that, and he corrected her, and it was Charlie Eggy, which was his name for himself because he was secretly a prince. He had like this vivid inner life.
Oh, right, yeah, his imaginary friend.
Yeah, and Queen Yu was his mom, and his dad was King Hu. And he was a secret prince, and his dad had a nickname, Jippity Doo, something to do with
and he had this whole thing in his head, like when he was a kid, had this whole, like imaginary life going on, and still remembered every single bit of it and all the details.
How could you not, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, okay, so I take that for granted, because I just assume people remember like I do things from my past, and the more I talk to you, the more I realize I need to stop taking that for granted, because when I ask you, to talk about 1983 off the top of your head, and you're like, I can't really do that, dude.
Yeah.
See, I take that for granted. So for him to be able to do that is cool. I can relate to that. But I just assume everybody can do that. But I'm finding out more and more most people can't.
Yeah, I mean, like that was for me. 83 was a completely different identity. That person doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, well, I'm not that person anymore either. But I have all the memories of the person that was there.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I guess we form differently. Generally, they say before 6 is the time that most people don't remember. I remember a couple of things before 6, and I think most of us might be able to pick up a thing here or there. But Yeah, it's unnatural to remember shit at 4.
Oh yeah, I went. Oh, so man, I'm getting off topic big time. But I went to breakfast with my parents this morning, and I started telling my mom about me crying on purpose to get when my mom and dad divorced. The night it happened,
Yeah.
I was sitting. I started describing the room, the kitchen, where we lived, where I was at in the room, where she was at in the room. My dad, my brother was down for the summer. And how he had to explain to me what a divorce was real quick. And I put 2 and 2 together. I told her, I said this was over bills. I could tell her what the divorce was about. And I had to start crying because I wanted them to shut up. I was tired of the yelling. And I wasn't mad. I was very happy that they were getting divorced. I was very relieved. But I didn't, it was a yelling, screaming going on back and forth and stuff. So I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to start crying just so they'll shut up and think I'm upset about it, and they'll just stop doing it. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as I started crying, my mother ran over, see, you're upsetting the baby, blah, 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 blah. And, yeah, that's kind of things that I remember, those kind of details, man. But I just think, I just assume everybody can do it, and I feel stupid when I find out they can't, you know?
Well, I mean, like I said, I have those few slick memories. I can describe the house to you that I was in when I was 2. For some reason, the yellow walls, the layout of the rooms, my toy box, so much of it is there, and I can recall it. But if you ask me what was going on at 2, what was going on, not even in the world, just around me,
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you.
That's
yeah,
cool.
I
was going to say we got way off
Yeah.
on a tangent there, just talking about his imaginary world.
Well,
Yeah, I think he was on
wanted to
Dick Cavett's show when he did that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Another
Anyway,
person that I knew nothing about because he came on so late. I remember thinking that, going through the, researching this, is like, I know nothing from Dick Cavett. And here, I always thought he was off the air before I was old enough to know. And this was stuff that I was old enough to know. It was during that time. I guess I was just in bed too early, you know? It's just that was crazy. So yeah, I was bummed. But see, I knew from Johnny Carson. That's what I don't understand. Like, how do I know from Johnny Carson but not know from Dick Cavett? Was he on like really late or something? That's what I don't know. Put it in the comments.
It was a time frame thing.
It may have
been
been
a little bit older when he got on Carson.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I knew Johnny Carson and his stuff. I'm saying, like, but I didn't know Dick Cavett. I'd never seen it, but I had seen Johnny. I saw the Tonight Show. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe because they showed it on clips during the day, and I just never saw Dick Cavett clips during the day.
Right.
Who knows? But anyway.
Well, back on Richard Pryor, one of the reasons I wanted to discuss him was because everybody was talking about Harry Belafonte recently because he passed.
Yeah.
Obviously, a figure in the civil rights movement. And I don't think that Richard Pryor gets enough credit. Like, he is obviously a strong figure in the civil rights movement, right?
Well, he was so skinny he couldn't get out from behind Al Sharpton.
Right.
Now Al Sharpton looks like they let the air out of him. You seen him lately? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's all good. No, I just wanted to say, like, he went from like the image of the one black guy, right? Sammy Davis Jr. He was in the Rat Pack. That's what he grew up with. And he went on the Ed Sullivan Show, real straight faced, and just abided by the rules, things you can't do. Yeah. And then at one point, he just broke the fuck out, right?
Yep.
He was like, I'm doing this. This is my thing. And it worked out for him. And that's amazing. But at the same time, he was still around like a lot of this. Didn't he know Sidney Poitier when he was younger?
I'm not sure.
I want to say he did. But,
I watched that whole thing, but it's been a week and, it's fading away.
Well, I mean, he basically went from like that kind of mentality, like Rat Pack and Ed Sullivan Show and stuff like that, to hanging out in Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
Lenny Bruce.
Get more edgy.
Dick Gregory. Yeah, all these guys doing more edgy stuff there. And that's kind of where he became the comedian I think I grew up with.
Yeah, when you get on the microphone, go, I love that cocaine. Some good stuff, that cocaine.
Yeah.
And he starts talking about how his dad's a shithead and beating him. I mean, he's just talking life. I mean, he wasn't even really being a comedian. He's just talking his story, you know? That's what was amazing. I watched that early stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about, where he gets up there and first thing he says, I love cocaine, you know?
Yeah.
He's just talking, man. And I look, so many times I can totally relate. Like I could just get up in there and tell you stories. And there's just so much funny shit in them, you know it's just going to work.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't think we had a lot of black comedians at that point making fun of mainly white guys, right?
No. I mean,
that was a lot of his content.
Red Fox would have been your man then.
Right.
Pretty much. I love me some Red Fox too, man. He's the king.
I just remember a lot of his bits were great, like talking about how cops don't shoot cars. You remember that skit?
It's been a while.
Oh man, he went out and shot up his car. It was I don't think it was the first dark psychosis thing where he lit himself on fire. I think it was the second incident. He was in a fight with his wife or whatever. He had a gun. He was outside, and he shot his car up.
Yeah.
And then the cops came, and he was like, I immediately got rid of the gun because cops don't shoot cars. I'll let you figure out what they shoot.
Yeah.
But that was, I think that was one where he was talking about having a heart attack. So that may have been even later.
Could be, yeah.
But
anyway.
Live and Smoking, 71, that was his big coming out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was early on. I tell you, it made, because by the time, you know, I was digging him, it was late in his career, really, the way it kind of panned out. But just I've got some notable movies here, and this isn't all his movies. These are ones mostly I think that I saw. They're not, some of them I haven't. First off, Car Wash, the original Car Wash. I love the remake, by the way. It's great. But the original, you know, what can you say? It's the original Car Wash, man.
Right.
Fucking Richard Pryor. Silver Streak, one of my favorites, man. I love his movies with, Christ. Yes, Christ. His movies with Christ. Why can't I think of his name? Old Willy Wonka.
I was trying to think of it, and I came up. It's Gene, but
Gene Wilder. Thank you.
Wilder.
Gene Wilder. Yeah.
I was sitting here. It's not Hackman. I know it's not Hackman.
Once you got me the Gene, I was in, buddy. Yeah. So anything he was doing with Gene Wilder was just fantastic, including. I'm going to tease it a little because I'm going to say Blazing Saddles, and you're going to go, what? What the hell are you talking about? Richard Pryor ain't in Blazing Saddles. No,
I know.
But he did have a hand in writing a lot of Blazing Saddles, especially a lot of the more racist stuff you see in it.
Right.
Like Klan members and all that stuff. That wasn't Mel Brooks. That was all Pryor stuff.
And it all worked too. I mean, that was a great movie.
Man, Chef's Kiss. Blazing Saddles is one of the best comedy movies ever freaking made. Don't even try and tell me I'm wrong, anybody.
It's right up there with Young Frankenstein, like all the Wilder greats, Young Frankenstein, Willy Wonka, all of it.
Yeah, and Mel Brooks is almost like pure genius, and I'm so grateful that he's still with us. And still, like History of the World Part 2, I'm actually watching that. Whoever thought that would actually become a thing?
Especially this far along.
Oh, man, and he still looks great. He's still sharp as a tack. I just love that shit. It makes me so happy that he's still doing his thing. Same with Norman Lear. 100, he's either almost 100 or right at 100. I think he's 100 now. And still doing it. Still making TV shows. I mean, fucking A, that's awesome. I forgot why. What did I get on? Who was I talking about? Okay, yeah, we're talking about Blazing Saddles. Yeah, all you got to do is watch the credits to know he was involved in it. But I've seen documentaries and stuff that talk about what his involvement was and stuff. It makes me think of what was that? Where he comes into the office? Is it Joe Piscopo? Is it Saturday Night Live? Where he comes in there and he goes, they're like trading slurs back and forth, and he's like dead honky or
Chevy.
something. Yeah, is it
Chevy Chase.
Yeah, that was great. Stuff like that, man. Anything that challenged racism was great, especially at that time, because this is exactly what I'm trying to get people to understand now in this day and age right now. Laugh at it, talk about it, laugh with your friends, laugh with you people you don't think you're friends, and you'll find out you are friends and you are the same. That's what they were doing. The same exact thing. It wasn't meant to offend. It was meant to make you laugh and go, damn, them white people are just like me. Or damn, them black people are just like me. That's the point. Comedy was great for that. Now you're going to get me on a tangent. That's why people like Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and Red Fox. You know, the grittiest ones, the ones that really, you know, they made you laugh and they made you think. George Carlin.
You mentioned a lot of people who pushed a lot of boundaries too, right?
Yeah.
When they were doing their material, that was not acceptable.
No, it wasn't. Lenny Bruce got put in jail so many times for stuff like that. I mean, they died on the cross for guys like me to come out here and curse at you every now and then. It's great. I appreciate it.
So yeah, they were performing their art as comedians, and they were getting people to laugh about things. But at the same time, it's a different writing process, right? When you're doing that type of material.
Yeah.
So I consider them to be like amazing wordsmiths, because they were playing with words, ideas, and concepts that we weren't ready to talk about, I don't think, as a nation, but we were ready to laugh about it.
Anyway, back to Richard Pryor.
Right.
The Silver Streak, which again with Gene Wilder, loved the movie. He did 2 or 3 movies with him. They were all great. Greased Lightning, The Wiz, great in The Wiz. He played the Wizard.
Great,
yeah, I mean, one of my favorite movies as a kid growing up, because you know, as a kid, you just loved The Wizard of Oz, and then you come to find out there's this whole different version of Wizard of Oz
that's got a lot more soul.
Got some soul off up in there.
To it, right?
Yes, I know it. Mm-hmm. Diana Ross.
Totally different story, but you know.
Oh man, it's so good. And you know, again, and I think back, like, I didn't think nothing of it, man. Black folks on TV. I was a kid. It was awesome. I didn't think anything funny about them. You know, should I have some weird thought because they're not my color? No, I liked it. It was awesome. It was the Wizard of Oz. They sang, they danced. They had the colors, the imagination of the difference in the way they presented it compared to the white version of Wizard of Oz. It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty, and yeah, he had such a really minor part in it, but such a major part at the same time. It was funny.
Right.
You don't see him too much. The Muppet movie was in that. Holy Moses. I don't know if I remembered that one or not. I stuck it on the list because I think it was one that may have been fairly. It was before our time, I think. Stir Crazy. Bustin' Loose, the toy. I saw the toy in the theaters. I love the toy.
It was
great movie. Superman 3, not a great movie, but
Loose
he was the
was
best.
also great.
Yeah. Bustin' Loose was great. Superman 3 was not a great movie, but he was the best part of it. And I think
agreed.
Arguably he shouldn't have been a part of it. That would probably have been such sounds like I'm going to say this bad. Superman would have been better without him as Superman, but he made that movie better. Does that make sense?
I kind of get what you're saying. They needed something more to pull in that story.
Yeah, Superman is not supposed to be a comedy, and that's what that was. And so it didn't need Richard Pryor. It needed to be something else. But the fact that they had no idea what they were doing and made it a comedy, yes, please put Richard Pryor in it so at least it's enjoyable to see Richard Pryor. That's about it.
I will say, I'll have to go back and watch it, but I kind of felt like he was falling back to the Ed Sullivan days on his material there. Maybe that's material that was given to him, right, by director and everything, but it really didn't feel like his kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
right?
it was just Yeah, it was just fluff. Yeah, probably pre-written.
Yeah,
Brewster's Millions. That was one of my favorites as a kid.
that was a great
I
movie.
loved
Yeah.
that movie. And of course, JoJo Dancer. I talked about. See No Evil, which is again another Gene Wilder movie. Great. See No
Yeah.
Evil, Hear No Evil. Sorry.
Right.
And
Who was the blind one? Who was the deaf one?
I was just
Hackman
about to
was-
say
or-
Gene would have been the blind one, I believe.
right.
And,
I think you're right.
and Pryor was the deaf one. Yeah, I think that's how it went.
It was great.
Damn movie, yeah, no doubt.
One of the
Harlem,
last movies you saw blackface in until what was that movie? Soul Man?
Thunder, no,
Well, Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, yeah.
Is the most recent one. But before
Yeah,
that, I
Soul
was
Man.
thinking there was something called Soul Man.
Yeah,
I think
I
it
remember. I
was.
love that movie, Soul Man. That was a great movie. You don't remember that movie?
Yeah, I remember it not that well. Apparently, the guy playing the main character got a lot of flack for basically blackface.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Jesus. I mean, see, you're making another point for me, guys. See, back then, nobody was uptight about that shit. Now you got to go back in time to be uptight about it. Poor guy's probably getting knockings at his door. He's like getting checks still from this movie, and he's old as shit now. And people are coming up and knocking at his door going, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" And he's like, "What the fuck did I do?" Yeah. Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Harlem Nights. One of
Good
my
movie.
favorite movies. Speaking of Eddie Murphy.
It had a lot of greats in there. Yeah, Eddie.
Oh, man. Eddie, Red, Arsenio.
Yeah. Wasn't
Della Reese.
Belarus? Wasn't Bernie Mac in it?
Oh,
Or
God.
was that not him?
I think that's before Bernie's time.
I think it may have been too, but I wanted to say I remember seeing him in it.
Yeah,
Like
no, that
in
was
one scene or
89.
something.
I think that was 89. That was before Bernie's
Yeah.
time. Bernie was still making his way in the world. Trying to get
Thinking
up.
of somebody else.
Yeah, he hadn't even done Friday yet. Good Lord, have mercy. Kick ass!
Some of that for my cataract.
You didn't put in on this, man! God damn, we used to watch Friday every single day when we got off work, me and my brother. I'm serious, every single day we'd go back to his apartment, we'd turn it on and watch it every single night. I don't mean how many months we did that, but yeah, we knew that movie backwards and forwards.
We also have Trading Places, right? Or not Trading Places, that was Murphy. He did something like that, though, right? Besides See No Evil, Hear No Evil?
Another You.
It was him and a white guy, another
Another
I
You.
think that-
Yeah. And then Lost Highway, which I'm trying to remember. Oh, yes. I do remember him, Lost Highway now. Yeah, he was kind of like...
I don't.
Yeah, it was a silhouette shot, maybe. It might have had him in full shot. I can't remember. But yeah, I think he was in a wheelchair too, perhaps. Because, this was after his MS kicked in pretty good.
Right.
Which I was surprised to see him in anything. I do remember seeing him in something about him, like an E thing. And, he already had the MS pretty good. And that was like the first time people had seen him in years when that E thing came out. I wish I'd have found that and looked for it on YouTube, because that would have been a good thing to see. Because he had done a couple of TV shows. He only had one TV show of his own called Pryor's Place. That lasted 13 episodes. I don't remember it at all.
Same.
Yeah, so I don't know if it... that was in '84. I don't know why I didn't see it. I mean, like that was at the peak of my fandom for him. So, you'd think I would have known about it. Obviously, it failed for a reason, I guess. Maybe they didn't market
Right.
it very well. Now, he did one episode of Martin, one episode of Chicago Hope, one episode of Malcolm and Eddie, and one episode of Norm. So he did some, fairly modern stuff in the 90s.
Yeah.
I still think of the 90s as modern.
Yeah.
I love the 90s. Good times.
People can drink that weren't born yet.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, you could smoke
I don't know.
at 19 too.
Yeah.
But that's not everything he did as far as movies, but pretty much the standout stuff. And what can I say? I mentioned he had MS, so that's ultimately what took him from us. He didn't work much except those little few episodes I talked about. He didn't do any stand up or sit down for that matter.
Right.
Just remembered as one of the greats, man, that spawned people like Eddie Murphy, who I consider, a god to comedy.
Yeah.
I think, and sorry if y'all don't feel this way. Leave a comment. Tell me what an asshole I am. I think Eddie's like 1,000 times better than Pryor. But that's because Pryor paved the way for Murphy and set the stage for him to be able to do what he did. So I hope you don't take it as disrespect toward Mr. Pryor.
I view Eddie Murphy a lot like Michael Jackson.
Yes. Yeah.
There was an era where he was a certain way.
Yes.
And then there was an era when he was another way.
Yeah. We went
So,
from
like,
being
Ron
Michael
Delirious
Jackson to being like Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah.
Planet Nash.
Yeah.
Planet Pluto or whatever the hell it's called. Pluto Nash. Planet.
Pluto
I like that
Nash,
movie
yeah.
though, man. Pluto Nash.
was
Rosario
okay.
Dawson.
Yeah.
Gosh, she looks so good, man. Does she ever stop looking good? She still looks as good as the day she did 10 years ago, man. She has not aged.
She's not going to stop, man.
God, she's beautiful.
She's going to be a silver tiger when she gets older.
I'm
Silver
telling you,
fox.
man. But anything you want to add to Mr. Richard Pryor? Because we have gone on a minute.
No, I mean, like, just a great a great comedian, very important in the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
I wish we had more people like him. In comedy, with, substance, something to talk about other than just what I hear these days in comedy. Yeah, that's about it.
He was an awesome dude, paving the way. Just telling us his life story, man.
Hmm?
That was funny. But that's really your best comedians. That's what we do. Just tell you stories about ourselves. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lump myself in there with great comedians, the best, but my particular comedy is telling you my shit.
Literally.
That's why I lumped it. Yeah, that's why I lumped it in there. Literally telling you about my shit.
Let's see if I got anything else listed on here. He did make a thing about being unlikable. That was a mindset of his that broke him away from the Ed Sullivan era to the Live and Smoking era. That's about the only thing. Oh, how did we not touch on Bill Cosby, dude?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah, he was really
Bill Cosby. Huge fan of Bill Cosby, he was.
Yeah.
And he was like, I want nothing more than to be Bill Cosby.
Yep.
And thank God he was not, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Really. Yeah, don't follow in his footsteps. Boy, he had us all fooled. Cosby did, man.
For real.
Again, here's another thing. All of white America watching the Cosby Show. We grew up watching it and didn't think two things about it. I didn't. I'm speaking for myself. I just assume other people, thought the same way. Because, I mean, we're in the South where we're accused of being racist all the time. And I didn't see things that way. So I just assumed the other kids around me that I grew up with in elementary school, they never acted crazy or say anything weird. So I have to assume they saw it the same way too. But yeah, he turned out to be a real creepo.
Right.
Man,
I don't know. I think the racists I knew growing up as a kid were children of racists, so they probably were taught that, right?
Sure. Well, that's how it goes, man. And then hopefully they get away from it.
Grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I actually have some. Well, I probably shouldn't say, but yeah, there's still some very much family members. I won't even say, just not even my family members, but other family members that I'll hear throw out some stuff that just makes you think you're in the early 1900s again or something, and it's like, wow. It's hard to believe it goes on, but they're very old, and won't be long for this world, and stuff like that stuff like that would change, except we keep trying to make it worse. Stop making it worse, people. Love each other. Reach across the aisle and hug a Democrat, hug a Republican, do something nice for her. Don't argue with them. Let me tell you what, this is my PSA for today. Stop attacking people. Stop telling them they're stupid because they don't agree with you. Just, we used to have discussions where we could talk across the aisle to people and have a different opinion, and you didn't call somebody a fuckwad or a libtard or what, a MAGA, because that's the conservative one, right? You're MAGA. Well, you're a libtard. That's what you...
Red cap.
Yeah,
That's
red
generally
cap
MAGA.
or whatever. Or you Q. I saw Q today. You're Q. Stop attacking people. What are you? What do you think you are? You know,
Me?
No, I'm saying like when you're attacking somebody, think about it. What I mean, like, it's not right because somebody could turn around and do the same thing to you. Just, you know what I try and do? And I do it all the time. I end up having discussions with somebody because I don't come at them going, well, fuck you too, buddy. Fuck you. That's what, you know, that's sometimes you get, you feel like you want to do that because you're like, why do people have to come at you like that? So, but just don't do it. And start saying, well, no, that, you know, this is actually why I posted that. Because that's usually what I'll do, calmly say, oh, no, this is why I did it. And then they'll come back with a retort. And if they're not ugly, you know, not rude coming back, that's all it takes. That is literally every time all it takes. Not coming back rude. And usually we can talk civil. But the minute you fucking start going, you know, you're an idiot or just anything, you know, you're ignorant. That's a popular one. Yeah, a lot of people are ignorant of something. There's ignorance everywhere because I guarantee you don't know everything. I wish I did. I tried. It's pretty damn hard. It's hard to keep it all up in here. So stay united, not divided, all right?
I was just trying to segue into a bit earlier. I was going to say, me personally, I am a student of Bill and Ted. You know, be excellent to one another. That's all you really need to know.
Be
right?
excellent to each other. Y'all hear me say, I'll see. Yeah, that was, I don't know if I've done it here. I used to on the audio podcast. That's what I would sign off with. Be excellent to each other. See you on the flip side. I'd say,
Well, that's a great thing to reinstitute.
As always, be excellent to each other. And we'll see you on the flip side. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, the like button, leave us a comment. We love you guys, you new guys that are in here. Hopefully we'll get some more soon and spread this love that we have for everyone. Maybe we can change the world. We got to change the world because if we don't, we're all fucked. Y'all take care.
Thanks, everybody.